Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we have another episode brought to you by DLT Trading. Check them out for all of your knife and EDC needs. And today on the channel, we have a new giant mouse that I have fallen pretty hard for. This here is none other than the giant Mouse Ace Sonoma V2 Blackout. Now, it's not just the Blackout I'm falling for, it's the whole V2 version. This is, obviously, as a V2 would suggest, the second version of the model of the Sonoma. Some pretty big adjustments made to this knife that have made it much more enjoyable, in my opinion, and I have really been dying to get my hands on this for quite a while, so I'm pretty excited to bring this one to you. Before I go any further into this review, though, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length of 8 inches, with the blade length coming in at 3.4 inches, and a cutting edge right at 3.15 inches. We have a blade width of 857 thousandths with a blade thickness of 145 thousandths, so a little thicker than your average blade. Blade material of L-Max with a drop point style blade, a flat grind, a handle length coming in at 4.5 inches, and a handle thickness of 535 thousandths. Handle width on this guy is 903 thousandths with a handle material of G10. This also has some micarta options as well. We have a liner locking mechanism with a user of a right or left hand tip up carry, a weight coming in at a very reasonable 3 ounces, and a price of $195. Now, it's very important to note, a lot of you guys may be saying, whoa, L-Max and G10, $195? I don't know about that, but let me tell you this. This is manufactured by Riyadh, and I am here to tell you that whether it's G10 or carbon fiber or micarta and blade steel of M390, N690, or Magna Cut, it doesn't matter what the materials are. When a knife is manufactured by Riyadh, you do notice a difference. It feels different, the action's different, and I think that does equate to a little bump in price, and that's what you have here, $195. Some people may think that's a little out of line. Personally, I think it's on the higher end of reasonable because of that Riyadh manufacturing. I'll explain more of that as we go into this review. Now let's take a look at some size comparisons here. This is a very nice size. This is in between something of like tactical and maybe office friendly, maybe gentleman's carry. It's a very nice design that was stirred up by Jesper Voxness and Jens Anso, two guys that definitely know their knife designs. Now let's take a look here. We got the Boost Blade Smoke is a pretty good comparison here. Now, this is not one that's out and about very much anymore. This is an older model from my personal collection that I really do enjoy, but it measures up very nicely to the Sonoma V2, as well as a more recent one that was one of my knives of the year for 2021, the Artisan Cutlery Sirius. This is a Ray Laconico design. As you can see here, a little longer, but still somewhat within the realm of some similarities there, at least in terms of overall, you know, kind of got that more slender design. But I think the best example I have to compare with this knife right now that you can even get just about everywhere is the Civivi Imperium. And this measures up very, very well from ergos to overall just action, feel in hand. Very, very good right here between the Imperium and Sonoma V2. So that is the best I got for you guys. I think a lot of people have experienced the Imperium, and if you haven't, you really should, because it really is a great knife under $100. But now let's get into this guy, and let's start with the blade. Very attractive, rather slender drop point blade. It does fall into that design language of Jesper and Jens. It's just very, very clean, somewhat minimal, but it also has some very nice character to it. And an edge around 22 thousandths. It cuts pretty well. It's not super slicey, but it's a very good working tool. And with that L-Max blade, you're going to get some very good edge retention, and it's going to take a very, very good edge. You also have a nice tip here that is not dainty, not the most robust tip in the world, but a very good EDC tip with that nice somewhat crown spine that you get with giant mouse knives, and that jimping that really does work great on this model because you have that choil, and it really does give your thumb a nice place to land when you're using that choil to really do some extreme detail work with this knife. This feels really good in hand if you ever need to do something more fine or more detailed as opposed to just that regular cut. It's fine to do just the regular cuts too, but that detail work with this knife, I think you could do some very, very good little fine cutting tasks for you. The flipper on this knife. This is where we start to talk about the Riot difference. You have some very nice fine jimping there that works. And as you can see, this is a very minimal flipper tab. It's not one that sticks out. It's not going to be your so-called Nick Shabazz patented pocket pecker. It's going to be a lot more friendly in your pocket, but you still get some fantastic action that we'll talk more about when we get to that action section. But there's definitely, you feel that Riot difference in the flipper, and that goes to just the overall design of the knife as well as the jimping and placement of everything, done to a T and done very, very well. The flipper action alone makes it a very fidgety knife. Moving into the handle and ergos. The ergos are very nice on this knife, and it's a combination of contoured G10 with a very, very smooth finish and just a very nice handle profile overall. Very friendly to any hand. Unless you have massive meat paws, this knife is going to be very friendly to small hands and big hands and medium hands. It's going to fit most hands very nicely. The only slight drawback with this knife is the wire clip. It's not bad. The wire clips can be very hit and miss for me. I actually love the way this looks on this one. Aesthetically, it's a winner. In terms of feel in hand, you feel it a little more than you want. I would say when you're using the choil, it doesn't feel nearly as bad, but when you choke back or just have it in kind of that hammer grip, just the regular positioning without using the choil, you feel the clip more. You definitely feel it more, particularly the butt, the bend of the clip back here. You feel that probably a little more than you want. For me, I don't think it'd be a hot spot. Other people, they may have an issue with that. But overall, it wouldn't stop me from buying the knife. And of course, nowadays, there's a lot of different clip options that fill in that wire clip. This is pretty much a standard length for wire clip. So there's probably some pretty good aftermarket options out there for it that are worth considering. But overall, very, very nice handle on this knife, as well as access to the liner lock. You've got that little bit of extra kind of contouring in there on the liner lock, and it works very well. You break it, you shake it shut, very smooth. Now the action, because this is where it really does. This is where the Riot effect starts to really kick in. Such a good, fantastic flipping action. For a pure flipper, I've said this before, I'll say it again. When a knife only has a flipper, when you can't flick it or do anything else, and you got to flip it, it's got to be on point. And this is a very, very solid, fidgety, clicky, just a very good flipping action, and a very effortless flipping action. This is something to where you just put your finger there and just lightly push, and the blade flies out. I wish I could. I don't think. Let's see if I can fail it. Yeah, so it can be failed, but again, you got to purposely be trying to do that. Just the lightest push, and the blade flies out. If I flip real hard, there, you can kind of see the force in how my hand manipulated the handle that I was pushing really hard there. But just a little light hold and push, and it still flies out at just about the same rate. That has to do with a very finely tuned detent and just a very good overall execution of the flipper on this guy. So action is phenomenal. Fit and finish is very, very good. This definitely does feel like a Riot-made knife, and that is why you're paying the $195, and it's why I don't have a huge issue with it. If you know at this point, you guys. If you've never handled a knife of this price and you've never handled a Riot-made knife and all you've handled are CRKTs and Civivis, you probably wouldn't understand it. And I don't mean that in any offense, but until you've handled a few Riot made knives, especially even just with G10 and, just your G10 and steel, there's nothing, you still notice that difference. Riot has a certain way of assembling a knife and putting it together to where whether it's carbon fiber and M390 or just G10 and whatever steel, you still feel a difference in quality and fit and finish. You have it with this knife, and I do like it a lot. This is one of the better giant mouse knives I've ever handled. And I've handled a lot. I've handled just about all of them. I still love my Biblio. I still love my Grand. To me, this right here is at least in the 3 spot. And if I'm being honest, it could really give either one, the Grand or the Biblio, a run for its money, and that really comes down to what you prefer in size and overall blade profile of a knife. Extremely solid offering, very, very nice knife here. The giant Mouse Ace Sonoma V2. This happens to be the blackout. Check out that link below. It's going to be linked to DLT Trading, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think of it. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.